Okay, let's unpack this. Picture the scene for a moment. It's January 28th, 2026.
The window's about to slam shut.
Exactly. The pressure is on, the table is taking shape, and then just out of nowhere, we get a rumor that feels less like a whisper and more like a seismic shock.
Yeah.
We're talking about Cole Palmer, Chelsea's superstar, ice cold himself. And the story is he could be crossing the divide to Manchester United.
It's the kind of headline that just stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
Yes.
It sounds completely insane at first glance.
It really does.
But to get why it's landing with such impact right now, you have to look at the context at Old Trafford. I mean, it's been a roller coaster season, to put it mildly. Ruben Amorim was sacked. Michael Carrick steps in as the interim. And suddenly, the whole mood is lifted.
It really has. I mean, compare the vibe now to just 2 months ago. Under Carrick, everyone seems to be loving it again. The shackles are off.
Exactly. The team's playing with a bit of freedom. They're climbing the table. And this is critical for this rumor to have any legs at all. United are actually sitting above Chelsea.
Right.
So when you drop a story about Chelsea's best player wanting to jump ship to a resurgent United, well, it just lights a fire. It feeds that whole narrative that the tide is turning.
So for our deep dive today, our mission is to unpack this absolute web of transfer stories.
Yeah.
Because it's not just one rumor on its own, is it?
Not at all.
We're connecting the dots between a potential world record arrival, a massive contract standoff with the captain, and the final exit strategies for a couple of forwards who just haven't worked out.
It's a fascinating moment. It feels like we're watching a changing of the guard being planned in real time.
Yeah.
So whether you're a United faithful or just someone tracking the market, we really need to break down the financial and strategic realities here.
Because the numbers we're about to discuss are, well, they're staggering.
They are.
Okay, let's start with a big one. The £180 million question. Cole Palmer to Manchester United. The reports are saying he wants to come back to the Northwest.
He is a Manchester boy, right? Right. And that's the emotional hook. The key detail is that he's a boyhood Manchester United fan. We've all seen those pictures of him as a kid in the United shirt.
Oh yeah, they're all over social media.
And the sources are clear. If he leaves London, he's not going back to the Etihad. He sees Old Trafford as the destination.
Which is just music to the ears of United fans. But let's be realistic for a second. This is Chelsea's main man. I mean, since he moved there, he's been the one shining light in a very chaotic project.
Absolutely. He finds those pockets of space, scores goals for fun.
So what does the math actually look like on a deal like this? Because it cannot be cheap.
Cheap isn't even in the vocabulary. You have to remember, Chelsea did everything to tie him down. In 2024, they signed him to that massive 9-year contract extension.
9 years. It still sounds wild saying it out loud.
It's the Blueco model, you know? That contract keeps him at Stamford Bridge until 2032. So, strictly speaking, Chelsea holds all the cards. They have no reason to sell.
So to even get them to the table?
The estimates are just astronomical. We are talking north of 150 million, maybe even 180 million pounds.
Wow. That's small country GDP territory. But here's where it gets interesting for me, because I was reading about Chelsea's financial situation. Palmer was signed for, what, 40-ish million?
Around that, yes.
So if they sell him for 150 million because of how the accounting works with pure profit, doesn't that solve all their financial regulation headaches in one go?
You've hit the nail on the head. That is the cynical, pragmatic argument for why this could actually happen. For PSR, profit and sustainability rules, selling an academy-like asset for that much profit goes straight onto the books. It just wipes out years of questionable spending.
It vindicates the accountants.
It does. But, and this is a huge, but think about the optics.
Oh, the fans would go ballistic.
Figuratively, yes. Palmer is the poster boy for this whole Blueco era. He's the proof their strategy works. If you sell him to Manchester United, you're basically admitting you're a selling club.
Yeah.
You're admitting you can't keep your best players.
It just destroys your image as a contender.
Completely.
So if Chelsea has no intention of selling because of that PR nightmare, then how does this rumor even get off the ground?
Well, the sources all point to one thing. Palmer has to force it.
Oh.
He would have to, as the British press love to say, throw his toys out of the pram. If he decides he's done, if he's homesick, and remember, the reports say he's constantly traveling between Manchester and London to see family, he has to make it impossible for them to keep him.
He has to become a problem they want to sell.
Exactly. And there's a specific connection at United now that might just grease the wheels. Jason Wilcox.
The technical director, right?
He's at United now, but he was the guy who really pushed for Palmer back at the Man City Academy. He championed him. That relationship is strong. And when you add that United are chasing Champions League football and are sitting above Chelsea, the sporting motivation starts to line up with the personal one.
It's the classic homecoming story, just with a £180 million price tag. But this is where the squad dynamics get really interesting, because this isn't just about buying a poster boy. The reports are saying this move is a long-term succession plan, a replacement for Bruno Fernandes.
And that is the pivot point of this whole deep dive. You can't talk about bringing Palmer in without talking about what happens to Bruno. Because tactically, can they play together? Maybe. But financially and structurally is one or the other.
Right. All right, so let's look at the captain. Bruno turns 32 in September, but by all accounts, he is absolutely flying under Carrick. I watched that Arsenal game last week. He was everywhere.
He was immense. The word talismanic keeps coming up, and for good reason. He was the driving force in that win. When he plays in that number 10 role, just floating, barking orders, he is still the heartbeat of that team.
So you have a player performing at an elite level. He's the captain. Fans love him. But he's approaching 32, and now there's this talk of a contract standoff. The rumor is, to keep him, United need to offer something massive, like £400,000 a week.
That's the number floating around. And it puts the United hierarchy, the whole Ineos team, in an incredibly difficult position. It's a classic head versus heart debate.
Okay, break that down. What's the argument for keeping him?
Well, the argument for keeping him is obvious.
Yeah.
He's your best player. He drags the team forward. You don't get rid of the guy who's winning you games. But the argument against it? Well, just look at the history.
United have a bit of a bad habit with these thank you for your service contracts, don't they?
They really do. Look at Casemiro. Look at Varane to an extent. They've been burned before by handing out massive multi-year deals to players in their mid-30s. The legs go, but the wages stay.
Yeah, and it becomes a financial albatross.
It stops you from rebuilding. And Bruno knows this is his last big contract.
For sure.
And there's a bit of bad blood there, or at least suspicion. Remember last summer, Bruno apparently suspected the club wanted to cash in on him, shop him around to Saudi Arabia or PSG.
So this incredible form he's in, is this him proving a point?
I think so. He's asserting his value. He's saying, look what happens when I play. You need me.
Yeah.
But if you're the sporting director, you have to be cold-blooded.
Right.
If you could swap a 32-year-old on huge wages for a 24-year-old Cole Palmer, even if it costs a fortune, you're future-proofing the team for a decade. It's a ruthless calculation.
It really is. Trading the guy who is great today for the guy who'll be great for the next 8 years. And speaking of players who are supposed to be the future, let's talk about Joshua Zirkzee. His situation feels very different.
Oh, very different. If Bruno is the indispensable captain, Zirkzee is unfortunately looking like the misfit. The word around Old Trafford for him right now is just uncertain. This hasn't clicked, has it? I feel like every time I watch him, I'm trying to figure out what kind of player he even is.
That's the biggest issue, identity. No one knows his best position in a Premier League system. Is he a 9? Not really a pure goal scorer, off the wing, doesn't have the pace. Number 10.
Well, you've got Bruno there.
Exactly. He's played all over, but he hasn't settled. And with the team actually playing well now, he's not even getting in the pitch.
That's the problem. He's fallen down the pecking order. Players are coming back from AFCON. Matthias Kuhn is playing really well. Zirkzee is on the outside looking in. And Carrick's system relies on speed. Zirkzee likes to slow it down, hold it up. It just doesn't mesh.
So for this January window, what's the likely outcome?
The consensus is that it's just best for both parties. If he moves on, he needs to play. And United, not being in Europe this season, don't need a huge squad. Cutting ties, or at least a move, seems like the only logical step. It's a failed experiment from the Ten Hag era.
Shame. The talent is there, but sometimes the fit isn't right. Now, on the topic of players where the fit broke down, let's get an update on Marcus Rashford. He's living a very different life over in Spain.
He is, and he's actually doing quite well. Just to remind everyone, Rashford is on loan at Barcelona. This was after a spell at Aston Villa the season before.
And how's he doing? Enjoying the sunshine?
He seems to be. Playing at the renovated Camp Nou, the reports are solid. 16 starts and 28 appearances, 7 goals, 8 assists. Those are good numbers.
Okay.
Barcelona are apparently very happy with his attitude and his output.
So happy ending then. Barcelona trigger the buy option, he stays. United get the cash.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
There's a 30 million buy option in the deal. But this is Barcelona.
The finances. the levers.
Every euro matters is the phrase they use. Even though they like him, there are genuine doubts about whether they can scrape the fee together. And more importantly, can they afford his high wages on top of that? They're on a tightrope with La Liga's salary cap.
So he could be in limbo, does well, but they can't afford to keep him.
Potentially. But here's where a new variable comes in that I found really fascinating. There's chatter from people like Keith Wyness, the ex-Everton CEO, about a twist involving PSG.
Paris Saint-Germain.
Yep. The theory is, if Barcelona start trying to haggle and drive that price down, United might just turn around and offer him to PSG instead.
And why would they prefer that?
Leverage. Pure leverage. United don't want to bargain with a cash-strapped Barcelona. But PSG, they have cash. Or even better, they might offer a decent player swap.
Oh, that's interesting.
It gives United an asset back immediately, a midfielder, a defender, rather than just a discounted fee that arrives in drips and drabs. It gives United the upper hand.
That makes a lot of sense. So regardless of whether it's Barcelona or PSG, the writing's on the wall for his United career.
Fabrizio Romano has been pretty clear on this. United are pressing ahead for a permanent sale this summer, 2026. He's not coming back. And as a side note, Rasmus Højlund is also expected to leave permanently.
Wow. So let's zoom out again. It really is a complete overhaul. Rashford gone, Højlund gone, Xerxes gone, Bruno may be phased out, and Cole Palmer potentially coming in to be the new face of the franchise.
It is a massive, massive transition. 2026 is shaping up to be year zero for this new version of Manchester United. They're finally shedding the skin of the last few managers and trying to build something entirely new under Ineos.
High risk, high reward. It's fascinating to watch. You have the romance of the Palmer return, the pragmatism of the Rashford sale, and the difficulty of the Bruno decision all at once.
And it all hinges on these next few months. How Carrick finishes the season, whether United get Champions League football, that dictates the budget. If they don't get top four, spending $150 million on Palmer is a fantasy.
But if they do,
anything is possible.
it is going to be a wild ride.
Just before we sign off, I want to leave you with one thought that I can't shake. We talked about those 9-year contracts at Chelsea.
The handcuffs.
Right. If Cole Palmer actually manages to force his way out of a deal that runs until 2032, if he kicks up a fuss and gets his move just 3 years into a 9-year deal, it poses a huge question for the sport.
Which is?
Does that long-term contract model even work? The clubs think they're securing their assets. But if a player can just throw his toys out of the pram and leave anyway, do those contracts actually provide security?
Or do they just create a more expensive mess to clean up?
Exactly. If Palmer moves, it might just change how clubs handle these mega deals forever.
That's a great point. It's a 180 million test case for the future of football contracts. We will be watching very closely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep your eyes on the news as the window closes. It sounds like it's about to get very loud in Manchester. We'll see you next time.